Hello, Tzvach everyone. It's a Shabbos Shira. B'ezrat Hashem, we will. There's a couple of words on the thing that is most amazing about Parshat B'Shalach is the fact that there is a zigzag of miracles and disgruntlement. Miracle, disgruntlement. Miracle, disgruntlement. I mean, the biggest miracles in history, Bechlal and Jewish people, obviously. Hold on just 1 second. So it sort of like tells you, we are ordered. We're supposed to remember Yetzias Mitzrayim every single day. What are we supposed to remember about it? That Hashem could do miracles, b'vadai, that He did us a miracle, b'vadai, that He made us a nation at that point in time. Until then, we were, under the Egyptians. That's the first time. Kriyas Yamsuf is when the Egyptians, waged war. You don't wage war on your slaves. You wage war on a different nation. So Kriyas Yamsuf is that seminal moment. What come afterwards? What happened to us? Why does Hashem hate us? Why don't we have any water? Why, and so forth and so on. The answer remains that's the way life is. Every single moment is a miracle, and every single moment after a miracle, it could be the greatest miracle of all. That we go like, yeah, but what if Hashem leaves me, by the next moment or the next challenge? What's going to happen? It's a constant thing. This is the Geula. The Geula came when, my pigeons, that Ashminet, Kolech, Harinet, Maraich, let me hear your voice, let me see your countenance. What does it come about? It wasn't like a concert, Yasha Heifetz playing the violin. It was, we were screaming because there was nowhere to go. That's what they said. He said that a hawk was zooming in on a dove, and it was going into a creek in the rock, and there was a snake there. One side is a hawk, and one side is a snake, and there's nowhere to go. So you just look up and you call out to Kodesh Baruch Hu. That is the Geulas Mitzrayim. This is what we need to remember every single day, because that's the way things are. You get the greatest miracle, the next miracle, you don't know, maybe Hashem forgot about me. Maybe he felt, okay, I was good to you until now. I really paid attention to him, but from now on, you're on your own. Chas v'chalina. Just a little, okay. Let's take a quick look at what's going on here. It's Hashem, Ma'aseh Baal Shem Tov. Shem Emunim, Baal Shem Emunim, he is the Avram Mordechai was, this is Aaron Roth, the Shem Emunim. He comes from Satmar in Romania, and his students became the Shem Emunim in Yasharim, and told us Avram Yitzchak, Aaron, and told us Avram Yitzchak. These are all his. So he says that once he was very ill, and he laid for 3 hours, unconscious, until he became, he started perspiring. Baruch Hashem became better. He said his neshama was in Olam Elyon, and he saw the Baal Shem Tov going with his Talmidim, and he asked, "Who is this going on with all these Talmidim?" So they told him, "This is the Baal Shem HaKodesh." So he got to the Baal Shem HaKodesh and asked him to give him a bracha for Refuah Shleimah. Hashem HaKodesh, do you have any shaykhs to me? Do you know me? I mean, have you ever been by me? So the Baal Shem Emunim said that his Rebbe, the Rebbe Mechel Zlotchevel, was telling in every Suda Shlishis, every Shalashudis, Ma'aseh from Baal Shem HaKodesh. And once it was very late, and my Rebbe forgot, he already took, he already washed my machranim. He forgot to tell him Ma'aseh from him. So I reminded him, he still didn't say a Ma'aseh Uvda from the Baal Shem HaKodesh. And I said, if my Rebbe says a Ma'aseh from you, then it's a big nachasura for you. So, b'schus this, I ask you for refuah. So the Baal Shem Tov says, yep. And he put his hand on the head of the Ravak, the Baal Shem Emunim, and he started schwitzing. And Baruch Hashem, became better, and he had a refuah shlema. By the way, once we're dealing with the Baal Shem Emunim, he has like the most fire-dick books about Shmir Sabri, Shmir Sainaim. He's very hard on it. It's the biggest serious to read his forum about Shmir Sainaim. He said that he was basically far from leaving the Torah. He was, I don't know if it was ADD or whatever it is, but he had big trouble learning Torah. And it's not that he couldn't understand or whatever it is, but he had a hard time sticking with it. And he decided that he is going to stick with it no matter what. And he started doing like for hours every single day. And he said it was quote unquote living hell. Of course, it was living Gan Eden, but it was impossible. But he kept on keeping on. And he said, after a while, like the doors opened and he went in and he became, the Baal, Shem Emunim. It reminds, the story from the Reb Nachem Rikanti, that he was basically, I don't know if in Amaretz, but he was very far from Torah until he writes it in the intro to the Sefer Rikanti. We said this story a few times. So the letters was a little broken, so it's not clear if he says that he calls himself that he was in Amaretz until age 60 or until age 80. It's not certain which one, because the letter is broken. If it's Samach or it's a Pei. And Lamase, he would come every single day to the Besmedrash, and he would stick his head. He wasn't a young Jew. He put his head. You're talking about the time of Rashi, Rambam, the 10th, 11th century, 12th century, around that time. And he put his head in the Aron Kodesh, and he would cry. He would cry his eyes out for his heart to be open in Torah. We're talking about a 60 or 80-year-old man. Okay? I mean, if you and me would have been there, of taking him by the shoulder and says, Rav Rikanti, come sit down. Shall I make a cup of tea with a little, a petit beurre biscuit, something. Relax. It's not healthy for you to become so excited. Just relax. That's life. Not everybody's supposed to be. The kids are at the age, I don't know, the age 80 or 60 or whatever. He said that he put his head in Aron Kodesh and he cried and he fell asleep. In his dream, he dreamt that they give him to drink, a little glazel from the well of Miriam, and his heart opened. The Rekanti has, besides the Sefer Rekanti, he is a major figure in Shulchan Aruch. He's a major figure in Kisvei Arizal, in Limud Kabbalah. He's like, Chakimaya de Yudaya. It's just Chakimah de Yudaya, a major sage. The Rekanti, Menachem Rekanti. So it all depends how much you cry for it. Alevai alai. Okay, so this was the Master Baal Shem Tov. Schusat again, Aleinu B'ezat Hashem this week. for everyone. So here we go for a couple of little short stories from Rabbeinu Rashash, Rav Shalom Sharabi, Zchutot again Aleinu. This is this is from the Rav HaKodesh Mekubal Reb Avron Shalom Mizrahi Sharabi, is Mechaber Sefer Divrei Shalom. He's the grandson of Reb Shalom Sharabi, the Rashash. So this tzaddik was born to his father, Reb Chizkiyahu Yitzchok Zertzal Ligosha, the son of the Rashash. And while he was, still, I'm sorry, I jumped. I think I jumped. No. When he was still young, they saw greatness on him. So his tzidkis and his kedusha, and he was very famous and with practical Kabbalah. And he was the one who substituted for his grandfather and became the Rosh Yeshiva's Bes El in Yerushalayim. And in his time in Damascus, there was the famous Gvir, the Reichman or the Rechnitz, whatever you call it, of that time. It was called Gvir Parchi. And he was the one who supported all the Torah organizations at the time. And once it became known in Yerushalayim that they made some kind of a fake alila on against this Jewish tycoon in Damascus, with fake accusations, and put him in jail, and he was sentenced to death. So Avram Shalom Sharabi went, the Rosh Yeshiva went with a few other rabbanim, a couple more rabbanim to Damascus. And in those days, there was a big milchama in Shem. See, it's Nablus. Apparently, things don't change that much. And they had to go through there, and with Sakonas Mavas, and they had a miracle. They went through Shem, and nothing happened to them. And when they came to Damascus, so the Rav HaKodesh, the Avram Shalom Sharabi, told him to give. He gave a beged with tzitzis, and told him to give this to the Sar Parchi in jail. And he gave him the tzitzis that he gave him, and he told the people, the household of that Gvir, to prepare Shadashudas, lavishly. And he said that he will eat with them, and the Gvir himself, Rav Pachi, will also eat with them. Everybody was like astonished, but if the Rosh Yeshiva says so, so this is what they did. And they sit to eat Shadashudas, and they were just sitting to eat, just set to eat, and the Gvir came. He became free from jail, because in Chatzois, the minister that was in charge of the justice, he looked again in the verdict, and he found the lies in fake accusations that the witnesses invented, and immediately they set him loose, and everybody saw it's the Meiser of the Tzaddik. And the same Meiser from the same Tzaddik, Avram Shalom Sharabi, at the same time. Actually, there was in Damascus, there was a Christian fellow that became a Muslim, and he became the second to the Pecha, to the governor on behalf of the Sultan. And this person was a big Russian, and he was was against the Jews and all kinds of fake accusations. And it so happened that, when Shalom Shara came to Damascus, the people, the heads of the congregation came to him and asked him to please to daven and to rachamim, they should be able to be saved from the hands of this Russia. So the Avam Shalom Sharabi went to be mishtatech on the kever of Rabbeinu Reb Chaim Vital. He is buried in Damascus, and he davened there with a broken heart and cried over there, and his tefillah was muskabel Baruch Hashem, and immediately it was heard by the Ishmaelim that this Christian guy is really a faker, and he's still wearing, a shtiva erev. And so, you want to be Christian, no problem, but you want to fake that you are actually a Muslim while you're still being Christian. They don't take too kindly to that. So they decapitated him. They killed him. Can you ever do koyal lecha Hashem v'Yehudi v'Yisrael v'Simcha v'Sason v'Yikar b'Zat Hashem. Ad kan ma'aseh tzadikim, and now we get to Rabbeinu Ariz. And let's see what's going on here. So Arizal was born. Ben Yakir, Rabbi Yitzchak was to his father, was a Yeled Shashuim. Most of the days of the day he was sitting besmedrash. His only focus is Torah. When Rabbi Klonimus, the Rosh Hashiva, was saying his deep shurim before the Gdolei Yerushalayim, the son of Rabbi Shlomo Ashkenazi would be together with everybody else also. So people, what's a small child, in the lion's den, but nevertheless, you'll see, he's a Tal B'fnei Atzmo as a child already. He was already, Baruch Hashem, he was an unbelievable kishron and masmid, and that's the way he sat. He sat there and he learned. He obviously didn't have to worry about parnos or anything else. And then a miracle struck, and his father passed away. He was just a kid. His father passed away, and immediately, in one fell swoop, he lost a father and a teacher and a guide and that supported him and pushed him along. And the Levaya, everybody came. All the Gdolei Yerushalayim, all the Chachamim Yerushalayim came. And also Reb Klonimus came, crying after the mita of his beloved student. You can imagine the crying of the Almona, the Smol Yisayim. Now the everything fell on the shoulder of the young Almona. She had to be finest. Now Reb Klonimus and all her students understood, they tried to be mechazik as much as they could. The mesameach with, with the Rabbi Yitzchak, he says, this little boy, B'ezrat Hashem, will be a Godel B'Yisrael. And so now the Rosh Hashiva paid special attention to the Ilui, to the Yosem, and B'Mashgiach, looked over his learning. But good words were not enough to feed the family. And so for their parnasa, her brother, Mordechai Francis, who lived in Egypt, was a very wealthy man. And he was a huge Baal tzedakah. And he took upon himself, to support his sister and her orphans and to support them. And still, the family was in Yerushalayim, with, the father, Tzadik, wasn't there. So after the passing of his father, Rabbi Yitzchak, got even deeper into Limud. The Torah was his escape route, This is where he found all the Nucham. and he was learning more Gemara and more Halacha, and so much so that his body was sweating, and after years he explained to his Talmidim why he was working so hard. He says the Esek Halacha is to break the klipos, is to break the power of evil. And the way to do it is for a person to exhaust himself. And this is how you exhaust them as well. So at that time, Jerusalem was conquered by the glorious Suleiman, the Sultan, Suleiman the Glorious. It happens very, around the time that our story is taking place. And it was very, chizuk to the community in Yerushalayim. But the Son Israel, whether it was Arabs or Christians, they looked for all kinds of ways, shapes, and forms, to make the Jews, smell bad by the authorities, because the new Sultan gave them all kinds of new rights and everything. They did everything. They, how goyim are, the fake accusations, whatever it is, one miracle after the other. Once the Muslims from the people of the town, they came to him, they told him, let the ruler live forever. The Jews are not doing what the king says. They don't listen to all your orders. And they gave him all kinds of fake accounts of such instances. But that ruler, he went and he checked what is actually happening in the cave, and so it was all fake, it was all nothing. And he was sick and tired with all this. So he asked the Arabs of Jerusalem to be punished. So they'll stop doing it. But that only caused the hatreds of Jews to become even worse. And not only against Jews, but also against the Ottomans, also against the governor. So they decided that they're going to go after him, and they're going to take their revenge from him. They started following his son. They said that when they will find the son, they'll kidnap him, they'll kill him, and they're going to throw him to the shul. This is not a new shtick by the goyim. So obviously, the governor became very upset with the Jews, and he will kill them. And already, they saw it as if they already won. And they watched the child, and they followed him. And once they saw him that he was alone, they kidnapped him, and they killed him. They killed him, and they took the blood. They put his blood into a vessel, and late at night, when the people in Yerushalayim were sleeping, they came in and they took the body of the boy and they put him in the shul, and they put the blood, they spread it all around. So the night was set. His mother said to the husband, where's our son? How come he doesn't come? So, as it were, the governor was also very upset, and they started looking for him. All the merchants, all the servants were looking for him. He told them to look for his son everywhere, and then whoever it is that is going to find the son of the governor, obviously will be getting some prizes, whatever it is. Nothing helped. That morning, it was Shabbos. The Jews of Yerushalayim went from their houses in the morning, covered with talesim, and they went to shul. They said that the door is locked. Since when the door of shul is locked? So they opened up. The Shabbos came. They found the body of the son of the. And it's like immediately they went to Rabbi Kloninos, who was the leader of the Ashkenazi Kehillah in Yerushalayim. They told him the story, and he says, "What did they do? We are all in Sakana. Called all the Jews to the shul and harbut filo, daven with all your hearts. Maybe HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I will do whatever it is they need in that house. As they are holding by the Jews were all standing outside the locked door, and they don't know where the shamas is. And suddenly he says, quick, Jews, run to your houses, bring all your families. We're in great trouble. And the body of the son of the governor is in the shul, and there's a lot of blood around it. They all did whatever it is they were ordered to do. And so the Arabs who murdered him, faked as if they're looking for him, but they knew exactly where to go. They went to the shul, and there was they were shocked. Look what we discovered. We found the body of your son in the shul of the Jews, and it's bleeding. So immediately he went there. And while he was there, everybody was bending his ear, how the Jews did it and whatever it is. You see that we were right. And when he saw his son, he couldn't say his Jews. Now he lost it. And he says, the Jews, that's it. Now you will never know a moment's notice. And he says you have to arrest all the chief rabbis. They are the first to be killed. After the Shabbos left the house of Rabbi Klonimus, he took in the mikveh, Kaddish, and started davening to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he took his pen on Shabbos, and he wrote pieces of cloth with Shemes Kedoshim and all kinds of Ashboas, Sakonas Nefoshes, Pikuach Nefesh, Derech Shabbos. And then he says, by the end, the law opened the door. He says, where are you? Where is Rabbi Klonimus? He said, before us, we came to arrest him. So they came, the Rav comes and says, yeah, willingly. I will go, no problem. I will help the minister, the governor, find the murderer of his child, and who this is, and who are those who tried to blame us. So they were like, the soldier was surprised, but nevertheless they took him to the governor. So the governor, even though he was shocked and he was, in great mourning, he says, bring him to me. So he told him as follows: dear governor, I know your great sorrow and your great pain for the murder of your beloved son. And I also heard what it is that you want to do to the Jews. But you should know that our hands are clean from this spilled blood. Not only this, but the people of this congregation are very grateful to you, and they love you for for the good relationship with them. But I wanted to tell you that it's possible I'm able to help you find out who it is that actually killed your son. Come with me to the place where your son is, and there you will find out who killed him. And so the governor, came with him, and they went to the shul. The little boy was lying on the floor, and there's a guard around him. A lot of people around. Some people, looked through the windows, looking in. When he came, the tzaddik took the shemus that he wrote on the cloth, and he put it on the boy, and he put it on the forehead of the dead boy, and he ordered him, get up on your feet and tell everybody how and where you were murdered and who are the people who killed you. Everybody was obviously in shock. And that he used, practical Kabbalah. Reb Chaim Vital used it once. Actually, Ariz was upset with him that he didn't use it another time. But that's a story for another day. The dead boy got up and he started speaking. And he said how he was kidnapped, and how his kidnappers, tortured him. and he told of their plan to blame the Jews of Jerusalem, for that. And this is how they will cause his father to take his revenge, from the Jews. So the son said, "If you're still hemming and hawing, you don't believe me. Send some of your people to that particular place, on this hill, on the east of Shem. That's the place I was murdered. One of the stones you can still see bloodstains. This is my blood when they killed me. And let them bring the stone here, and you'll see that I said the truth." And immediately they did it, and they broke. And when they broke that stone, the son fell down, dead again. Well, you can imagine what happened then. The wrath of the bereaved father was unbelievable. And he said, "Now arrest all these people who murdered my son and prepare gallows throughout the city." And that is exactly what happened. That was obviously the Amos Lemaisa. Very short time after this, Clonimus passed away in Tafshin Chet, and this is what he said in his tzava. Since at that time there was a big tzara on the Jews of Yerushalayim, the Sakonis Nefashos, I had to write Be'etzim in Shabbos Kodesh, and I was over Din Torah, and as Mechal Shabbos, Mechayev Skila, Kedim Mechal Shabbos Ufaresim. So therefore, I put the order on all the people of Yerushalayim. Every time that they come near my matzeva, they should throw a stone in it, and this is how they should behave for 100 years after the day of my burial. Obviously, anybody, who is in Yerushalayim, all the who's and who's, whatever, any kind of Jew could, went to the Levaya, and within one day, the Kehillah in Yerushalayim was left rudderless. There was nobody to lead them anymore. And they did, what he said, his tzava, everybody's Mekayim. The Beis Chaim of the Ariz is called the Gal of Rabbi Clonimus, because a lot of stones all over it. The people from Yerushalayim, before they go abroad to a far away Sichos, they would take one stone from the Gal of Clonimus, the Segula, to come back home safely. Many years, this Gal reminded everybody of the miracle that saw from the time of the Sultan Suleiman. Today, however, there's no even a memory of the grave of Rabbi Clonimus, because of the digging that was done in Nachal Kidron, the time of the British mandate. And amongst other things, the kever of this amazing tzaddik is also disappeared. Ad kan, the story of the days of Harizal for tonight. And let's just get to Sichos Haran and share it together with the Olam. And this is Sicho Kuf Samech Daled, 164. It says also when Rabbeinu Zirtza Kilas Uman, that was very, very close to Rabbeinu's passing, like half a year before. He already reached a madrega, that, as Rabbeinu said, no person had ever reached before. And he says even then he had a tremendous amount of his beidudus. And once the person who owned the home where Rabbeinu was, when Rabbeinu spent the last 6 months of his life, anybody who's been to Uman can go to that place, and this is the place also, you can see the place where Rabbeinu's bed was when he passed away. So the Baal Bais, he came, he had the Shechinus in the room, he could, the special room the Baal Bais had, he had things in this, he was able to get he was able to get into the room, and he once came in, and he just came out unexpectedly, and he found Rabbeinu Zichron Livracha was lying on the floor with spread hands and legs and begging the Kodesh Baruch Hu, even though he was very, very weak. It's just less than half a year before he passed away, and his existence was hanging on a thread. As benes, and mamish, at every moment it was a life, but still he did not leave his way, his simple, straightforward way, until the last hour before he passed away. Asher. The thing that we need to understand from this Sicha is that, as Rav Nosson said, Rabbeinu's Torah, how much Torah Rabbeinu learned, I learned too. I davening, it says I also daven. He says, but I wasn't Yotzer Rabbeinu's tmimus, his simplicity. Just be simple. What does it mean to be simple? Being simple means don't be a maven in yourself. Don't try to figure yourself out. You take a look at what it is that you do, and you can find yourself that you are so far from what you're supposed to be, and you fall so short from what you need to do, and so, I don't know, about things that you shouldn't be doing. And it's the same old song. You're like a broken record. You keep doing and keep on keeping on and doing the same again, same again, same again. You are firmly in the hands of the Yetzer Hara, and there's nothing you can do. But there is something that you can do. What can you do? Anything. Anything. Lift up a finger and say, no, but I don't want it. What do you mean you don't want it? What are you kidding? I mean, 24/7, you are into this. You tell me you don't want it. Yes, I don't want it. And by that, I don't want it, it's not just some kind of psychological mumbo jumbo or whatever it is. It's not what it is. You have to understand. The Yetzer Hara hates you. It shows it's supposedly, it tells you, I love you. I offer anything to you. I'll give you everything. In fact, the Yetzer Hara makes you love it, like a Stockholm syndrome. You think that you love it. Right? By the fact that you're sort of like voting, you say, yeah, but I don't want it. Yeah, but I don't want it. That causes the Yetzer Hara himself a conundrum. On one hand, he needs you to suck the blood from you, to suck the chayes from you. On the other hand, I don't want this. I don't want this. It's just a protest. I don't want it. That causes the Yetzer Hara to hate you. When the Yetzer Hara hates you, it brings about hate from you to it as well. And what happens is that after a while, suddenly, those things that you love doing, that you really wanted to do and you were like so hot on doing, suddenly they become tasteless. It's not that you broke something, some kind of a chokehold, chokehold that they had on you or whatever. Nothing. Suddenly it doesn't speak to you. Suddenly it just doesn't do it. What happened? The happen is the Yetzer Hara doesn't like you anymore. because from inside you, he already can already see that one day you will kill him. This is the story, this is the secret in the story of the sixth day of the Maisa of the seven butlers of the Bas Melech, that the cruel king took her and he dreamt that one day she's going to kill him, and that spoiled his love for her, and therefore, whatever the point is, all I'm trying to say is this: just keep on keeping on. People fall because of, what do you want to do? I mean, I'm never going to break through. So what? All you need is to vote to say, I don't want this. That's it. I don't want it. Baruch Hashem, we have a Rebbe, and he's strong. We can lean on his koyach, on his chos, and just don't give up. Even on the floor, with somebody's foot on your head, don't give up. What do you mean don't give up? I'm on the floor. Don't give up. This is Avodas Hashem. That's Tmimus. That's Pshitas. It's my business whether I'm succeeding or not succeeding. Nothing to do with me. I'm supposed to put up as much of a fight as I can. That's it. No more, no less. Zat Hashem should all of us will have Zat Hashem a Gevaldige week. And Bli Neder Zat Hashem will see you all this Monday night. That's Hashem. Kol Tov, Shavua Tov, everyone. Be Matzliach.